This is Engage New York, Module 1, Lesson 5. Our objective for today, I can name decimal fractions in expanded unit and word forms by applying place value reasoning. All right, we're going to start off with a sprint today. So does everyone have their books? All right. When you get your books out, on side A for Lesson 5, put your pencil up so I can see it. Are you ready? Put your pencil up. David, do you have a pencil? Oops. All right, I'm going to start the timer right now. Ready, set, go. All right, everyone pencils up. Can you circle the last one that you got to on your paper? And then we'll go over them. All right, so I'm going to put it right here. You guys ready? All right. 623, 6,230, 62,300, 736, 7,360, 73,600, 6.6.06, 3, 30, 300, 0.2, 2, 20, 0.08, 0.8, 8, 3.2, 6.7, 91, 74, 4,100, 6,700, 10, 70, 7.2, 8.02, and 19. Did anyone get farther than me on this? Because I keep going if we need it. All right, good job. On the top corner over here, write how many you guys got correct. And we're going to flip it over and we're going to do the back page. All right, pencils up when you're ready.
Timer.
Alrighty, I'm going to start the timer. Go. All right. Time's up. Circle the last one that you were on, and we'll go over all of them right now. Alrighty. 461, 4,610, 46,100, 892, 8,920, 89,200, 3, 0.3, 0.03, 9, 90, 900, 0.4, 4, 40, 0.07, 0.7, 7, 4.5, 7.8, 28, 19, 5,200, 8,700, 10, 80, 0.83, 9.03, 17, 8,523, 790, 58.02, 2,708, and 81.8. All right. And then up here, remember, we can do how many you got correct this time and see how much you improved from last time. Okay, now it's time to get back to the lesson. We're going to start with these 6 problems. I'm going to do the first one with you on this chart, and then I'm going to let you do the other 5 yourselves. It's just a little review on yesterday or the past couple days. Alrighty. So for this one right here, 5.4 times 10 to the second, we can plug it into our chart right here. Put 5 in the ones place and 4 in the tens place. And if we're multiplying it by 10 to the second, how much are we multiplying by? 100. So I'm going to draw an arrow over here. I'm going to draw this arrow over here. So 540. Does everyone see how I got that? All right. So I'm going to let you do the other 5 and let me know if you have any questions. After y'all finish these 5, we're going to check them all together. All right, now that you've had a chance to look over the rest of the 5 questions, we'll go over them together. You can use the place value chart, but I'm going to do it by just moving the decimal point. So if we're going to go right here, 0.6 divided by 10 to the second, that's dividing by 100. So we're going to move the decimal point over to the left, right? If we're dividing, we move the decimal point over to the left. So now your new number is 0.006. So 6 thousandths. We go down here. We're going to remember that there's an imaginary little decimal point right there. And if we're dividing by 10 to the third, how many times do we move the decimal point to the left? 3 times. Good job. So make that a decimal point, right? All right, we'll move up here. Now we're going to multiply. So when we're multiplying, where do we move the decimal point? To the right. So if we're multiplying by 10 to the second, we're going to move it over 2 times. Right? So our new number is 60. Go down here, 10 to the third, we move it to the right 3 times. So our new number is 2,784. And our last problem on this part, we're dividing by 10 to the third. So this decimal point right here is going to go to the left 3 times. So our new number is 0.017569. Ooh, that's a big number. All right. Any questions? Are we doing okay? All right. So now we're going on to multiplying metric units. Do you remember yesterday how we did this was part of our lesson? We're just going to review it again today. Does everyone know does everyone remember how many centimeters are in 1 meter? How many centimeters are in 1 meter? 100 centimeters equals 1 meter. All right. So if we're looking right here, 3 meters, we want to find out how many centimeters are in 3 meters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to write 3 in the one spot. And for each meter, there's 100 centimeters. So what are we multiplying by? Are we multiplying by 10 to the second or 100? Right? Does that make sense? So I'm going to move it over right here. Did I do that right? Nope. Yeah, I did. Okay. So we're going to put 3 right there. Add the zeros. So how many centimeters are in 3 meters? 300. All right. I'm going to see if you guys can remember these from yesterday. If you have 7 kilograms, how many grams is that? Do y'all remember how many kilograms are in 1 gram? Or how many grams are in 1 kilogram? 1,000. 1,000 grams equals 1 kilogram. So if I have 7 kilograms, how many grams am I going to have? This will be 10 to the third. Ready? 7,000. Everyone get that? Now we'll move on to the next one. You have 7,000 milliliters. Milliliters is going to be on the opposite side. It's like thousands, so it's smaller. So does everyone remember how many liters or how many milliliters make up a liter? 1,000. So if I want to go from milliliters to liters, do I have to divide or do I have to multiply? We have to divide. So we got to divide by 10 to the third because this is 1,000. So we go over here. We go 1, 2, and 3. So how many liters do we have now? 7. All right. For this last one, we have 7,500 meters. And that equals how many kilometers? Like kilograms, kilometers is 1,000. There's 1,000 kilometers in each meter, or there's 1,000 meters in each kilometer. I'm going to write this down so you guys can see it. So if I have 7,500 meters, how many kilometers am I going to have? Am I going to have to divide? Am I going to have to multiply? I'm going to be dividing by 10 to the third. So 1, 2, and 3. Does anyone have any questions? You guys are doing a really good job. All right, time for the application problem. Jordan measures a desk at 200 centimeters. James measures the same desk in millimeters. And Amy measures the same desk in meters. What is James's measurement in millimeters? What is Amy's measurement in meters? Show your thinking. So, do you guys want to draw a place chart? Do we want to do it by? Let's see. Do we want to do an equation or with a place chart? So I'm going to show you both just in case, okay? I'm going to draw a little place chart right here. I'm going to label them. Jordan had 200 centimeters, right? So he had 200 centimeters. James. So I put right here, because Jordan had 200 centimeters, right? This is the ones, the hundreds, thousands. Is everyone drawing this along with me? All right. So if James measures the same desk in millimeters, how are we moving? Are we moving to the right or to the left? Are we multiplying or dividing? So millimeters is going to be a little bit bigger, so we're going to be multiplying it by 10. So if we're multiplying by 10 to the first, where are we moving? This way? All right, I'm going to draw little arrows. Bring it down here. How many millimeters does James have, or the length of his desk? Is it 2,000 millimeters? All right, so now we're going to go over to Amy. Amy's doing it in meters. So from centimeters, how many centimeters are in a meter? There's 100 centimeters each meter. So to get to meters, we're going to have to divide, right? We're dividing by, it's like we did up there. We're going to be dividing by 10 to the second. So in our place value chart, we're going to go over 2, over 2, over 2. So bring this down. So how many meters is the desk if you look at your place value chart? Right. This is Engage New York, Module 1, Lesson 5, Concept Development. All right, let's write the following numbers in standard form, expanded form, and unit form. All right, so we're going to start right here. I don't even know how to start right now. Okay, so 3,047. What is that in standard form? Okay, so this is standard form. When we move on to expanded form is pretty much breaking apart everything. You want to pull everything apart and kind of just expand it as far as you can, okay? So I'm going to show you this one, and then the next one, you guys will be able to do it a little bit more yourselves. So we have 3,000. You're going to do 3 times 1,000, okay, plus 4 times 10 plus 7 times 1. So I'm going to explain this to you. So here we're at 3,000, right? You want to do 3 times 1,000 is your first part, because 1,000 is the base and you have 3 times it, plus you move over here because the 0, there's nothing there, so you move over to the 4. In the tens place, you do 4 times 10, because it's in the tens place. And then you add the last part, the ones place. So you add, it's 7. So 7 times 1. Does that make sense? You kind of just pull everything apart as far as you can, make it as simple as it can go. And then when we do unit form is when we write it as units. So we're going to do 3,000s, because look up here, it would be like, there's 3,000s and 47 ones. 47 ones. Does that make sense? You want to break it down even more, you can do 4 tens and 7 ones. Or you can write it as 47 ones. All right, let's try this one again. Maybe it'll make a little bit easier as we go. So we're going to write this out. We're going to write 265 and 5/10. So like that. All right. So if we want to do expanded form, what are we going to do with the 100 spot? What are we going to multiply times 100? It's going to be 2, because this is the 2, right? Then we're going to add, what do we have in the 10 spot? What are we going to multiply by 10? You see how the 6 is in the 10 spot? And then then what about the 1 spot? What are we going to multiply by 1? The 5. All right, and this part's a little bit different than the last one, but when we have to add 5/10, how we're going to do it is you add 5 times 1/10. So you see how that's 5/10? It's just you're multiplying 5 times 1/10. You're breaking it into like the simplest forms possible. Does that make sense? Do we have questions on how to break it all apart? The last part of this is we're going to write it in unit form. So we're going to write 200 200s, 6 tens, 5 ones, and 5/10. Do you see how I broke it up? I kind of wrote it how like it would be up here, right? So I wrote, if it was 265 here. So I wrote it 200s, 6 tens, 5 ones, and 5/10. That would be unit form. Okay. We're going to do one more on this part, and then we will move on to problem 1. All right, so this is 46,204 and 700. Do you see how I wrote that out in standard form? All right. Next, we're going to go and try to do expanded form again. We're going to break it all apart, okay? I don't have a lot of room here, so I'm going to try to kind of squeeze it in, okay? So we're going to go to the 10,000 spot. So we're going to do 4 times 10,000 We're going to move over to the 1,000 spot. How many times are we going to multiply 1,000 with this number? 6 times. We're going to add again. We're going to move to the 100 spot. 2's in the 100 spot. So we're going to multiply by 2. All right. Now, we don't have anything in the 10 spot, right? So we don't have to multiply anything by 10. So now we're going to move over to the 1 spot. How many times are we going to multiply 1? Sorry, I'm moving down here because I ran over. 4 times. All right. Do we have anything in the 10th spot? No. So we're going to move over and see if we have anything in the 100 spot. We have 7. So how we would write that is 7 times 1 over 100. Does that make sense? How we did that? All right, so do you see how with standard form, we just plug it into our little chart right here, do 1,000. Here's your little decimal spot. This goes right over here. Expanded form, like up here, you just have 1,000. So you're only multiplying it by 1, and you multiply it by 1,000. That makes sense? So now in unit form, it's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same as up here. So it's 1,000th. Remember, if we look at here with unit form, we can see exactly what it is. We just write it like that. So now we're going to do the same thing, almost the same thing, but we're going to do it with 3,000. So for standard form, what is that? Do you know? Yeah, go ahead. Okay. So standard, sorry, there we go. 3,000. So if we go to expanded form, we know we want to multiply it by 1,000th, right? How many times do we want to multiply it? How many thousandths do we have? 3. Do you see how I did that? It's 3,000. And then unit form, it's going to be the same thing as before. 3,000. All right. So now we're going to move on to problem number 2. I'm going to let you guys kind of do this yourself. It's just like this one right here, but instead of the 3,000s, we're going to do 13,000s. I'm going to give you a second. Let me know if you have any questions, and then we'll go over it together, okay? All right, for this one, for standard form, I'm going to write it as a decimal. So 13,000. So now in expanded form, it's a little bit more expanded than the one previously. So we're going to go, we see that there's you see how there's a 10 spot or 10th or a 100th spot? I can't talk right now. A 100th spot. So we know we're going to be multiplying by 100, 100th. How many times? There's 1. We're going to add it to the thousandth spot. So how many thousandths do we want to add or multiply in? 3. So do you see how I did that? We have 1 in the hundredth spot and we have 3 in the thousandth spot. We want to make sure we add them together. And then unit form will be 1 or 13 thousandths.
Your internet going bad?
All right. So this problem, they're giving us a decimal to start with. They're giving us a standard form. So we're going to have to make that into word form. Do you know how to say this in words? All right. It's 200. Oops. 100. 70. 73 thousandths. 273 thousandths. Does that make sense? Because it's on the right side of the decimal. All right. If we're going to write this in expanded form, we want to look at the 10th spot. So how many tenths do we multiply it by? What's this number? So we're going to do 2 times 1/10 plus, now we move over to the 100th spot, 7 times 100 plus the 1000th spot, 3 times 1000. All right, so that's expanded form. Now for unit form, this is the last one on this problem. We're just going to write 273 thousandths. Because there's 273 thousandths. All right. I want you guys to do this problem right here, the last part of problem 2, and write it in word form, expanded form, and unit form for me. Can you do that? And I'll be here if you have any questions. I'm going to flip over and write this over here just so we have a little bit of room. All right, so for word form, compare your answers to mine just so you can see if you got them. 1 and 600 8 thousandths. For expanded form, we got 1 times 1 for the first spot plus 6 times 1/10, so the second spot, plus 8 times 1,000th. All right, does everyone see how I got that? Now let's do unit form. 1 ones and 608 thousandths. All right. Is everyone doing okay? Can we move on to problem number 3? All right. So we're going to be doing a lot of the same thing that we were just doing. These are just a little bit bigger numbers. So we want to write this in word form. We start with 25. So 25. And when you get to the decimal point, we're going to write and. 25 and. It's kind of signifying, you're moving from like into the decimals. And 413 thousandths. That makes sense how we're kind of writing it out now? All right, time for expanded form. So we're going to look at the 10 spot. How many times are we going to multiply by 10? 2 times. Now we're going to add and move on to the 1 spot. How many times are we going to multiply by 1? 5 times. I'm going to put another addition sign. We're going to move over to the 10th spot. So how many times are we going to multiply a 10th? 4 times. We're just going to keep going like we did before. We have 1 times 100th and 3 times 1,000th. Sorry, I ran out of. Do you see how I did that? Does that make more sense now? The more we practice, the more you kind of see. I know it's kind of a little confusing at first. All right, so for unit form, we're going to do 25 ones and 413 thousandths. All right, does anyone have any questions on this part? All right, I'm going to move down here. Does this number look familiar at all? So it's the same number, but it's just written a little differently. Okay? So we're going to write the expanded form of this one now. So I'm going to have you guys do that. I'm going to have you write the expanded form and the unit form for this, okay? And then I can help you with the word form. Remember, this is the mixed number and this is the decimal. So try and do it yourself and see what you come up with. Let me know if you have questions, okay? All right, we're on our last problem here. So we want to write in standard, expanded, and unit forms. For 400, what is the standard form? Just 400. Okay, we're going to move to expanded form. All right, so we look here and we see there's a 4 in the 100 spot. So you just want to do 4 times 100. And then for unit form, we're going to do 4 hundredths. This is all kind of review again. We're just going over the same things. If you guys understand how to do the standard form, you're getting to understand more of the expanded form and the unit forms, then this is just another review. Okay? So 4 thousandths. What is that? 4 thousandths. So there's the standard form. If we go to expanded form, we only have one number right here, right? So we do 4 times 1 over 1,000. 4 times 1,000. And then the unit form is just 4,000. Okay? And this very last one is 404,000. So if we're writing that in standard form, we want to do 400 and, so we put a decimal, 4,000. When we want to do expanded form, we're going to do, this is in the hundred spot, right? So we do 4 times 100 plus, this is in the thousandth spot, we do 4 times 1,000. Okay? And the last part, we want to write unit forms. We're just going to do 400 and 4,000. So when we're doing the unit form, we just got to remember, I'm going to go back to this chart real quick. I'm going to write 400. So we see here, we do 4, oh, can you see it? Right here. 4 hundredths, 4 thousandths. Does that make sense? So for unit form, you're just saying what it is here. So for this one, say we're looking at this one, we'd say 2 tens, 5 ones, 4, and you can just always do like 413 thousandths or 4 tenths, 100th, 3,000th. Does that make sense? All right.